All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Lily Andrus, and tonight we're going to be discussing social media. And for anyone who has not attended some of the previous continued education classes about social media, those are going to be more around how to create social media sites and how to post on those sites. And if you haven't been into any of those before, any of those lessons, I would encourage you to go watch those. But tonight is not going to be so much about attracting new members. It's going to be about keeping your current members engaged and really keeping your club really strong during the hopeful last portions of the coronavirus pandemic and being remote from each other. So this evening, I want to talk and accomplish a couple things together. So first, I want to hear if your club is currently facing a slump in membership engagement. For example, having unfulfilled roles or just not meeting on a regular basis, but also if your club is doing really well right now. I would love to hear from y'all about what things that you've done to keep people engaged. Maybe we can learn from each other here. And then next, I do want to talk about how your club wants to be engaged. So I'm going to walk us through ways to create a survey so you're able to get really honest responses from your members on their favorite ways to receive information about your club. And then of course, in the end, I do want to save some time for feedback and questions from y'all. Okay, so first, really what I want to do is hear from you guys, Kathy and Sandra. I want to hear if you guys are willing to share a little bit about what you guys' club's environment is like, if you guys are having any issues with attendance, or if things are going really well, things that you've done to keep your members engaged. Are y'all comfortable talking about that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Perfect. Sandra, I know you said your clubs are doing great right now.
Well, I'll say that they're experiencing growth.
Okay.
I don't think we can ever be doing too great, but they are experiencing growth. And like I said, one of the clubs, and I'm here to, I guess, represent 3 clubs. So one of the clubs had evening meetings, and then on April 1st, they switched to afternoon meetings. So they went to evening meetings during COVID because the majority of the members said that it was easier for them to meet in the evening. They were working from home or they were busy at work. And so they did that for a year. And then they went back to daytime meetings this April the 1st. And they've had 3 new members join since April 1st. Yeah, 3 new members. And today another one indicated that they wanted to join. And so if that happens, that club will have experienced 4, maybe 5 members during the month of April, just by changing their time. And there's not very much publicity going on with this club. So that's why I'm here to help them with that. And then a second club I visited last evening. And I want to say that they had 2 members join just last night.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Yes, I'm excited for them and I'm excited for their growth. I have another club that I'll be visiting on tomorrow evening. And if there's a club that's struggling with attendance and members, it would be this club. And the problem is most of them are DTMs, very seasoned Toastmasters. And so though there are 5 or 6, maybe 7 members, you can't tell. If you visit their club, they cover all of their roles and they know exactly what to do. They're very polished, they're very poised. We talked about a club coach for them. And so far, we haven't found one that they kind of like or want to have. But I'm encouraged. And I know that they'll get their numbers back up because like I said, they're all seasoned, very good speakers, and well-versed in Toastmasters.
Absolutely.
Now, one of my clubs was defunct as a result of Clear Channel Communications. When it went away, the club went away. It was a corporate club. And so they never reformed. When Clear Channel ended, they ended.
Gosh, that's too bad.
So those were my 4.
Mm-hmm. Would you recommend a club coach for a lot of different clubs? as you've seen it maybe effective?
I'm sorry?
Would you recommend, like, when would you recommend a coach club or a club coach, excuse me, for a club?
Anytime. I don't think there's a bad time to ever get a cheerleader. And that's what a coach is. A coach is someone who helps your performance and helps enhance what you're doing and encourages you. So I think 20 or 10, it's always a good time to have someone who's specifically there to coach you, to mentor you. So I don't think there's a bad time or a certain number. I encourage all my clubs to solicit a coach.
I think that's a great idea, and that's something I've actually never heard of before. So I think that's super cool. And especially right now, everyone can use a little bit of encouragement in clubs.
I think it goes both
They
ways.
can't legally get credit as a coach if the club has more than 12 members. However, they could offer to be a consultant and do it as an HPL project.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yes.
And that would, and a lot of clubs would benefit.
And I think it's two ways. I think the coach benefits by being able to impart his knowledge, her knowledge, their wisdom, their encouragement, because you have to be up to get others up. So I think of it as a two-pronged approach. You get and you give.
Love that.
I wanted to take a minute and welcome Dina. She just got online, and I think you're from TDLR, right?
I am from Seguin Premier Toastmasters.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Dina.
A couple that were coming from TDLR, and we haven't seen them yet, and I couldn't remember. So I'll blame it on old age. But welcome. We just got started.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm coming from another meeting, so Tuesdays are busy.
Yeah, I'm sure. Thank you so much for joining us, Dina. What we're actually doing right now is we're talking about how to engage your current members. And we're just talking with Sandra about, she's representing a couple different clubs tonight, and how some clubs are doing really well and how there's some clubs that are possibly struggling. And so what I wanted to do before jumping into how to engage those current members is turning it over to you guys and asking, is your club doing really well? Are your members, are you having trouble with member engagement? And if you guys are doing well, what are some things that you've done that have helped? Is there anything y'all's club is your club doing well right now, or?
My club is, I guess we're in the struggling mode. And I know that we just had our competition, and we actually invited another group to come help us be judges and things like that prior to the area competition, just our club competition. So that helped, but they were also struggling. So they invited us to be judges and things. So we're doing some collaborating, and they're from San Antonio and we're from Seguin. So it's a drive, but we're helping each other out. We actually, over the last few months, I'm the PR person as well as membership. We've had a newspaper article done, and we have Facebook and different things like that. Honestly, we were expecting more people, but it's still the COVID scare that is getting people out. But honestly, here's the other thing. They're not interested in Zoom. We'll post Zoom and have it, and people don't get on it. It's no, zip, which has been kind of surprising, but I think people are pretty exhausted and tired of online stuff, perhaps. But I will say we just had our, we have a meeting tomorrow night. And so 2 weeks ago, because it's every other Wednesday evening, we had 2 guests, and we've gotten a couple emails through Toastmasters International of people that are interested. So I'm hoping that we're on the growth cycle, and we're going to be getting, more visitors, more people joining, and we're like, just come, and here's the thing, we're meeting, because I'm the connection person. We're meeting at Geronimo VFW. Great place to have it, because nobody's there. Nobody's using their buildings. And so they've opened the doors. They gave me the key to the building. And so, and we've got a stage. it's a big giant building, you know, we have plenty of room. There's no germs are going to get on anybody. I mean, but it's like, we've got room, people, come on. So hopefully seeing this increase in people who are interested in at least commenting, emailing us, we're going to start seeing more people show up, which is a good thing, because we've had a few people leave as well, which has been difficult. We're like, argh. But yeah, so that's where we're at.
Mm-hmm. I really like the idea of collaborating two clubs together and doing like evaluating each other and stuff. I think that's super cool to find clubs that are also maybe going through a membership lag and just kind of putting some new spice in it. So I think that's a super cool idea. I've
also contacted and did the Zoom call with the Rotary Club here in town. That was, I mean, it's great, yes, but it was a dud because the Rotary Club, all of them, they are focused on their Rotary stuff, or they have not only the Rotary, they have maybe another second club already where they're doing, another volunteering thing. So that's a rough crowd, in a sense. It's, they have their priorities, and majority of them, at least the one here in Seguin, they're all business people. And so they actually meet during the day at lunchtime. So having to go on a Wednesday evening is just kind of not in their forte. And I mean, they had a big group. It's like 20 people on their Zoom call.
Wow.
But it was most definitely, there was no hand signaling, yeah, interested, or, because it was Zoom. But I can only, once they start meeting in person again, go try it again. But, it could be a great collaboration there too, but Rotary members are really hardcore Rotary and stick to that, I think. At least our group in this area, and I've actually visited with them before for other organizations that I'm in, and it's been kind of the same outcome. So, maybe other people have good luck. We just didn't. But that doesn't mean I won't try again.
Yeah. No, I think that's a super good idea. And, finding groups that have similar, I guess, times and stuff as your own group could be helpful too. I like the idea of the mixing in Rotary Club too. So hopefully next time you have better luck with that, because I think that's such a cool idea.
Well, I mean, isn't that the Toastmasters? Is it Kiwanis? Or no, it's Rotary, right? Our collaboration is with them, right?
But you're welcome to talk to the Optimists, the Kiwanis, anybody.
Oh, absolutely.
We've been talking about the Boy Scouts right before everybody got on the call, and people are asking us where Scouts can find clubs.
Yeah, well, I'm the unit commander and a regimental commander for Young Marines, which is a youth program, 8 to graduation from high school. And all the kids were interested. We had a camp out over the weekend. And, I mentioned, hey, Toastmasters, anytime you guys want to come out and practice stuff for school presentations, because they're back in person, I'm like, come out, we're here. So
Dina, I'm a big believer in not doing anything unless you get credit for it. So you could technically run a youth leadership weekend. You can do it longer than that, but I have a good friend in Austin that does it as a weekend program.
Oh, yeah?
That counts as credit towards your DTM.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
that would be an awesome way to introduce the Marines, young Marines.
Yeah. Well, I have 8 units in South Texas that I'm responsible for. So I have access to a lot of kids.
We're focused on kids right this minute. So that sounds great.
Oh, gosh. Hey, Kathy, I know you said that your club was going through a little bit of a hiccups as well right now. Have you guys done anything to try to combat that?
Yes, actually, I'm a member of 3 clubs. I swore I would never join more than one, but lo and behold, COVID kind of put a kibosh on that. So my home club is a closed corporate club. We are one of 14 clubs that Medtronic has throughout the United States. And we have been successful, distinguished ever since we went into business, ever since we chartered in 2016. And the funny thing is, Medtronic does most of its meetings online anyway, because like if I'm on a call for a meeting, I'm in the operations department we're usually talking about back orders and things like that. So we're talking to people in Kentucky, uh, Northridge, California, and maybe sometimes
Gosh.
Minnesota all at the same time, and sometimes India, because we have people all over the place. So that's the only way we can have meetings anyway. So when COVID hit, it was not that big of a deal, not that much of a transition for us. We were originally on WebEx, but when COVID hit, the salespeople said, we want Zoom because they were having to call on customers. And Zoom is just so much easier than WebEx, in my opinion. Anyway, we did our very first Speechcraft this year. We had 16 people signed up. Not everybody finished because they got really busy, but we have people that work in inside sales. We're all working from home right now, but we have senior outside sales people, just all, our 24-hour helpline who never usually has time to get on a meeting. They were thrilled that we would offer them a Speechcraft program. So we've been struggling right now because we launched a new pump. We sell insulin pumps in this division, and everybody's always running around like chickens whenever we launch a new product. So most of our regular members have a hard time getting to the meeting, but the Speechcrafters have started coming in. We had 4 so far join our club because we let them attend the regular meetings too, because we were alternating. But we still, this time of year, we always have 20 members at least. We still need 4 more members to get back up to distinguished, because we've been distinguished every year. So that's a concern for me being a district leader. But I will say that our meetings, no matter what or how many people are there, even if it's only 3, we always have a good meeting because we always have somebody do a talk, we do really good table topics, we make it interesting. But one of the things that I decided, because I've seen some of the clubs in the district do it, we're really focused at the Medtronic Club that this is a leadership development program. So I told the club president, let's do a theme one week where we're doing interviewing skills. We're doing somebody tell a story about how Toastmasters help them get promoted, because that happens all the time in our club. They get promoted to a bigger job and then they have to leave because they don't have enough time. So, but some of them stay in the club anyway because they're just devoted to helping other people grow. So that is a big challenge because most corporations right now are just like Medtronic. I know you're in a corporation too, Lily. We're just super, super busy and people are spread really thin. But that's the one thing that I see is doing some kind of theme topics for the meetings that make it, what's in it for me, that make it something that a person is going to want to come and hear. So that's one of the ideas that I have come up with. And we'll see how it works.
No, I think these are all good ideas, and everyone's taken a good swing at it. Yeah, definitely looking into finding a coach for a club and partnering with other clubs or other organizations, and then just I think tailoring themes a little bit more about what people want is going to be really important to keep those members coming back. So yeah, I appreciate everybody giving feedback on that. I think that's going to be important for all of us to be able to keep growing our clubs. Yeah, so the next part I want to touch on is, this actually just flows right into it, is making sure that the clubs that we have are providing an environment that's giving its members really what they're looking for, like a reason to come back. I'm sure, Kathy, you've probably seen this, but Sandra and Dina, have you ever used the member interest survey with your clubs before? Y'all have? Okay, perfect. Then this
just the ones at the beginning of my area director role, we did member involvement, member interest sheets, and talk to and talk to them about it. But that was
Okay,
the time that I've done it.
great. Do you guys send it out on a regular basis? Okay, so that's actually something that I realized that Harlan pointed out to us that, hey, you know, we've been kind of guilty of not sending that out this much this year. So just for the sake of the recording, I know that y'all have seen it before, but I'm going to share out the screen just so people can see what it looks like when they go back on the recording to look at this, the member interest survey. A couple things about this. This is available on the Toastmasters website. And then I can always drop the link in the chat if you guys need immediate access to it, but it sounds like y'all have used it before. But I like this. When Harlan was talking to me about it, it just helps with that pulse check of really what your members' goals are. And some of the questions here, obviously, they're going to be a little bit more personal to each of your members, but as people who are VPPRs of clubs, this is essentially a freebie, if you think about it, because right here, based on the information that your members give you, it shows you exactly the type of content that you should be posting on sites that your members use. For example, if y'all look over on the screen here, if they're interested in becoming better leader or listeners, for example, you can post articles that are listed in the resources tab of Toastmasters International site that gives tips on how to be a better evaluator. So for example, when this is sent out to your club, just something that I think is important is at the bottom. So I'm going to scroll down really quick. Obviously, I'm not going to go through every single one of these things because you guys all have looked at this before, but at the bottom, I like that it gives the members the opportunity to write their own opinions. And you can really, as VPPRs, can really tailor the social media message based on your members' thoughts. And something that I need to remember as well is make sure that you're filling this out yourself. Because if you think about it, it's really easy to become stagnant within a club and become comfortable with the status quo. So when you think about it, what would you change about your club? What would you like to, what would make you come back if you weren't an officer in your club, or if you weren't actually tied to your club in some way, or you had a commitment to your club? And yeah, so I really like this, and this is a tool that I think is underutilized, and it's a great way to essentially, you know exactly what type of content that your members are going to be looking for. And then
how often do you think we should actually use this with our club? Twice a year? More than that? Quarterly?
Yeah, I would probably say every 6 months. I think, especially if there's new members coming in, and then as members drop off, maybe people will want different things.
Okay.
Is there anything that y'all would want to see different about your clubs, or any different type of themes, or anything that you think members would want to get from your clubs?
We've tried a lot of different things.
Uh-huh.
It's just a matter of coming out of the COVID, I think, and getting people out and coming back. I see, I mean, I hope this is more than just a little uptick, you know, that we've got some interest and a couple newbies come in. So I'm really got my fingers crossed that it is going to be for everyone. You know, we're all going to have an uptick of people going, yes, we're ready. Let's go. Let's get out, you know. And I think to keep it lively, you know, having maybe themes for the night, you know, like Cinco de Mayo is coming up. So we all, you know, we'll have some kind of theme with that, dressing up even. And, you know, our table topics are always fun to have it related. One of our girls in our club, she is always like, for Christmas, for Halloween, she'll be dressed out to the T. And it's fun. It adds that variety. And we always learn something. That's the best part. Anyway, that's just something that we've tried, and it seems to, it's not like we really force it on anybody, but we're like, hey, this is coming up. How, if you want to. And we ended up getting some fun stuff happening. So anyway, sorry for jumping.
No, that's exactly. We're in a small group tonight. This is definitely going to be, I definitely interject anytime you want, but I love the idea of a Cinco de Mayo party, because can't believe it's almost May. That's a little scary. Like, oh gosh. Sandra, what about you?
Well, one of the clubs has a series of guest speakers, and I thought that was an interesting way. The one that I told you was struggling with their numbers. They have a guest speaker for every week, I want to say. And that guest speaker not only comes to speak, but people that follow that speaker come to hear them speak as well. And they invite others to come and hear their guest speaker. So I thought that that was a nice approach.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think that's a good way to get people to just spread that natural word of mouth with people that are just within their network and make it less of like a, hey, just join my club. It's more of a, hey, we actually have a really something a little different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
That's
they
a
did
great
it as
idea.
series. So I want to say there were 4 speakers, and you could see on the agenda who the speakers were and kind of what they'd be speaking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was ingenious.
Love that. Kathy, what about you?
So my other club that outside, well, there's 2. One is an advanced club that I think you've been to before, Lily, Top Notch Trainer. That one actually, we have the secret weapon. We have Betty Puckett. So nobody gets to visit without getting a membership application out of Betty. And, you know, she'll drive them crazy till they join or they run away or change their phone number. But we are such a niche in this market because we focus on doing longer presentations, and for people that want to build their training muscle, most of our all of our members actually are involved in helping with TLIs, helping at the conference, doing these CE classes. So they're very involved, and we invite people that we know would be a good fit. So they're from all over the district. We have a lot of people from Austin. We have them from the Valley. So that's one club. And that's really, you know, when you look at the type of club you have, that is really the best way to market a club like that is by invitation, getting the word out. This is what we do. This is what makes us different. So that one's working well. We have another club that I'm a member of in Corpus Christi. It's called Aqua Vitae. It is a great club. It's young people. There's me and Fred Pena. We're the old folks. And then everybody else is young. And they have great ideas, lots of enthusiasm. And we have really, you know, great meetings, but we usually have maybe 5 people there. So we're working on developing a niche in speaking to influence. So one of the young members is a technical writer, and he's done the live streaming class for CE here. Then one is a weatherman. He doesn't do the news, but he's behind the scenes. And then we have another one that is like a ball of fire. He's a trainer. He has a training business. He's already taught 2 classes in this program. So we're really trying to get other like small business people. That's our niche we're trying to attract. So we're trying to put together, and they're also focused on getting people to join again from the city of Corpus Christi because that's who the members were before COVID. So you know that's what's going on. We do real interesting table topics. They're kind of like custom made for each person, so I like that a lot. And they do a lot of controversial topics, which we don't do in any of the other clubs I'm in. So I don't know that we need to do anything else other than what we're doing. It's just like everybody said, it takes time to rebuild. So I'm seeing, you know, some inkling of growth, but it's just been kind of slow going.
Yeah.
That's where we're at.
No, I think that's a great point because a lot of this stuff, it just takes time, which is kind of the unfortunate part about some of this is that it's not instant gratification. It's just you have to keep chipping away at it, and eventually it'll build up. And especially since COVID, it's been kind of like we're frozen in time a little bit. So
one of the things I wanted to add, though, that I think could help Dina, and I think will help in Corpus Christi, you are aware that we're working on advertising specifically for the district, but I would like to look at some of these small markets and find a way to advertise in those markets because we're not doing anything right now with those, but that might also be another thing that we could do. to help them find members?
Yeah, we have a couple of newspapers, a little one that they do now online. And the other one is, of course, our regular big newspaper, but they have community sections that we can add for free. So, or not add, no pictures, but we can at least have a community event happening and things like that.
But have they let you, like, have they done articles about your club or?
Yeah, the bigger newspaper did the article recently, and the smaller one hadn't, but that's something that I can still go back to.
We on the PR team would love to see that article because we would like to.
Oh, it was great. We were all like,
encourage other clubs to get that kind of PR.
Yeah, and they came out and took pictures and everything, and we had to razz the dude that got on the cover. We were like, man. Anyway, you got to pick on them, right?
Yeah. See, being in San Antonio and Austin, it's like, $200,000 to get an ad in a full page ad in the San Antonio paper. So that's not happening.
Yeah. But Betty, I'll tell you, I'm sorry. But Kathy, I'll tell you.
I think that is a compliment, Sandra.
Well, I'm on I was talking also on another call, but one of the things that I did, the neighborhood newsletters, they're free and they'll let you run them for a month. And so I've used our neighborhood, the Stone Oak newsletter. They have a calendar and they've let us put our Toastmasters meeting in on Tuesdays and where we meet and what time, and a little bit when I was PR, a little bit about, hi, so you want to talk, let's talk, that kind of stuff. So they give you a very small amount. I can't remember, it feels like maybe 50 words.
But will they still do it if it meets online?
I haven't had to use it.
Because I haven't seen any any online meetings on my neighborhood.
Yeah, I haven't seen it on but we do have a neighborhood feed, a neighborhood group.
So there is also nextdoor.com, and I'm guessing Seguin has it. I actually created a group in my Nextdoor for South San Antonio Toastmasters, because I'm just south of downtown, and I'm going to tell you guys, there's like 256 people that signed up to see stuff, and I hardly ever post.
Wow.
Because I built it for the clubs. Yeah. I am not a member of a club that meets in South San Antonio. I just live here.
Oh, okay.
So, if nobody gives them any content, and I'm not going to sit and spend my time posting for the clubs. They need to be doing that for themselves. And this is a recording, so everybody hears this. You need to be responsible for your own advertising. We will help as much as we can in the district, but that's your job. Like Dina has done a fantastic job. This is a great example, and Sandra's done a great job as area director. So follow their lead, and if you build it, they'll come.
That's what I keep saying. I'm trying to build it, Kathy.
I will tell you guys that we were talking about this in the beginning. We have a fantastic person coming in as PRM. She is our current regional advisor. And I have already talked to her about building a professional VP PR development program. We are going to teach you step by step what to do to get your club advertised properly. So if anybody can come and take the classes, it's just that it's focused on PR and marketing. So that's something that we will provide, but the club, the officer still has to do the work, or the club is really a team. If you're doing PR, that's not something that one person should be doing all the work.
Correct.
Just like Lily's not the only person on the PR team, although she's the main one that does these classes because she's got a following. So anyway, that's my sales pitch for the evening.
It's a good sales pitch, Kathy. I can't believe I haven't thought about Nextdoor. I have my own account on Nextdoor. It's like, why don't I have my club there?
It's only, if you are an individual, it's only the zip code that you live in. Now, if you're like, I have a small business that I also market on Nextdoor. if you can pay to sponsor different zip codes and it's not expensive. So a club could actually do that. It's like, it depends on which zip codes you pick. Austin's probably more expensive, but like some of the zip codes, it's like maybe $30, and you can run it for a month and then stop it if you want. So there's a lot of different things, but to start a group on Nextdoor is completely free.
Perfect.
And
Hey, love
there's
learning.
also the meetup, but that one, I'm also part of another group on the meetup, and it's anybody and anyone can say that they're going to come to it and never show up. And I mean, it's a bit of a dud, that program.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard people who've had a lot of success with Meetup, and then also a lot of people who've had no success with Meetup. So
exactly.
There are some clubs in Austin that have had great success with Meetup.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is not one of mine at this point, but hopefully that will change. Oh my goodness. Okay. Thank you guys so much for giving y'all's 2 cents about this. I think that learning from each other is going to be the best way to go about growing our membership, but then also engaging our current members. And then the last thing I want to talk about is, here, let me see if I can share out my screen for y'all again. Okay. So we talked about the membership survey, but I want to talk about, so you have the membership survey, you have the answers, you know exactly what your club wants to get from what your members want to get from your current club, you know what to post, but it's more of where your current members would like to see them. So obviously being assigned to the social media and doing that for a club is a huge task, but since there's so many different social media accounts that you can post on, definitely want to make sure that you're being the most effective when it comes to staying in front of your current members and not just posting on all platforms just to be there. When your current members, if you're creating posts that are specific for your current members, you want to make sure it's on that platform that they are going to use most of the time. So a simple way to do this is, obviously the next meeting is to just ask your current members wherever they're spending most of their time on social media. But if we're worried about a lack of attendance in membership, then you run the risk of missing a big portion of your membership by just asking it at a meeting. So a good way to get honest feedback from your members is to send out an anonymous survey. A site that I've used in the past that's been helpful for me is SurveyMonkey. However, there's a lot of different free resources. Have y'all ever used SurveyMonkey before?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all have?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Well, then this will not be brand new news for you, but I'm going to quickly walk people through who are not here right now for the recording on how to quickly set up a SurveyMonkey and how to send that out to people so that you are able to get honest feedback from your members. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen out again. Okay, so y'all should be able to see my screen now, and it should show the dashboard here for SurveyMonkey. So it's very simple to set up SurveyMonkey if you guys don't have an account with them already. I won't spend time walking through how to do that because it's just an email and password. But once you set up the account, you're going to have a homepage that looks like this, and you'll be prompted to upgrade to pay for an account, but you don't have to worry about that. You'll still be able to use the site without having to pay. And just a reminder, I'm working right now on a Windows 10 Pro desktop. This could look different, maybe on an iPad or a mobile device, or maybe a Mac. It shouldn't be so different though, where you aren't going to be able to recreate the survey based on these instructions though. So on the top of the screen where it says upgrade, avoid that one, and go to the next one where it says create survey. So go ahead and click on that. And it's going to take a moment to load now because everyone's watching, but all right, so it's going to give you some options on the left-hand side for creating a survey. I just clicked the start from scratch one. It's pretty simple. And it's going to ask you to name out a survey. So let's just do Toastmasters questions. And it's going to ask you for a survey category. So some of these categories already have some pre-filled in questions, or at least they're already kind of pre-set up. because we want to tailor this a little bit more to your club, just go ahead down and click the other form right here. And you're going to want to make sure that you use your own contacts. You can buy targeted responses, but this is going to be for your current members, so you won't need to have to purchase responses. And then it's going to ask you to choose a format for how your questions appear for your members. This is completely up to you. You can do it one question at a time or classic. That shouldn't matter too much. But then it's going to take you over where to create the survey. Okay, so it's going to take a minute to load. All right, so it's time to write your questions. So we're going to click on create a question, and what we're going to ask is, what social media site do you use most? And it's going to ask you if you want it to be multiple choice. There's a lot of options here. For simplicity's sake, I just do check boxes just to make it easy. So when you go back and you analyze the results, you can just see quickly what they use the most. So we're going to type in Facebook because that's very popular, and then Instagram, and then LinkedIn. Okay, and so what I also want to encourage you guys to do is, so you should be able to see where it says add other option. And so what this is going to do is this is going to allow people to give you feedback on if they don't use any of that, and if there's possibly a different social media site that they're using that you're not aware of. So you may be missing out on ways to engage your members just because you might not have a Twitter, for example, or a TikTok. Okay, and then the validation, I wouldn't worry too much about that, but just make sure that their answer fits a certain format, so don't worry about that. And then go ahead and click the save button. And you can add a different question. Something that I would maybe add is, what's the social media site you use the least? However, that's completely up to you, and you can always tailor these questions however you think your club is going to respond best to them. So you can go ahead and click the next button on the top right-hand side. And it's going to take a little bit longer to load. So this is going to show you what your survey is going to look like for people whenever they get that. If that looks good to you, you can always go back and edit it. But up here on the top right-hand side, it's going to say next. So just go ahead and click on that if everything looks good. And then for collecting your responses. So again, we're going to send surveys your way. That's going to be the emails of your members. You don't have to pay. All right, and so here is actually, it's a little interesting. How do you want to collect your responses? So we're talking about sending this out by email to your members. And to send by email, you have to upgrade to a different account. However, there's a way you can kind of get around that. So if you go to the share a survey link, this is helpful if you're already sending out maybe a weekly newsletter to your members, or you're communicating with them some way through email. The best way, even if you're not at this point, I would send out an email to all your members asking them to fill out the survey. But then what you're able to do is just copy the link, and then they'll be able to either go in through like a hyperlink and click on that, or you can just ask them to copy and paste it in the email. And then what they're going to get whenever they copy paste it is your survey right here. It's very simple. So you don't have to worry about upgrading it and paying. But what I want to do is go back to the site, to SurveyMonkey, and once people fill out the survey, what you can do is it'll bring you back to your dashboard whenever you go back to your site. It's going to load a little bit. So what I did earlier is I created a mock survey already. It's this one here, the Toastmasters questions. So this is what will show up on your dashboard whenever your members fill out the survey. So you're going to be able to see the number of responses and if they completed it. And so if you kind of hover over these three dots here, you're going to be able to go in and analyze your results. And through this, you're going to be able to see the different sites that people use and be able to compare results here. And this is how you're going to be able to know where to post that content that's tailored for your members. And then you'll also be able to go in and see the different other responses if anyone types anything in. However, I didn't respond here, so it will look maybe a little bit different. And then lastly, I just want to go back and show you guys how to do this just in case you maybe had a typo or something was done incorrectly. If you want to delete the survey entirely and start over, go back over to those 3 dots and it'll show you how to delete it. So just want to make sure that everyone knows if you maybe you want to tailor it a little bit differently, you can always go back and re-edit it. Okay, so let me go back here and excellent. Yeah, so creating that survey combined with having the answers from the membership survey, that's going to give you guys plenty of ammo to create content that's really compelling to your current members, to remind them of why they maybe joined your club, and encourage them to be engaged with you guys again. But it looks like we have plenty of time for any questions or feedback, so I wanted to turn it back over to you guys and see if you guys have any thoughts or anything you guys want to add. Silence is good too, because it means that it made sense.
No, I understood what you just said perfectly, and I followed along. So
Good.
I'll be able to do that, and I'm excited to be able to do it.
Perfect. Yeah, I hope this is helpful for people. I like that it is an anonymous response for members, so that they can just be very honest in the other comments, and yeah, makes it helpful for everybody.
Well, thank you for allowing me to sit in and learn this evening, but I'm going to have to hop off.
Of course, I know you're busy. You have lots of Zoom meetings, Sandra.
Yes, send me a link if you want me to come.
I absolutely am. Sending it to you now.
Or actually, it's probably better if you put it in the chat.
I'll send it to you right now, and I'll have you right up front so you can get in and get out and not have to go through that whole meeting.
Awesome.
Perfect. Thank you, Kathy.
Thanks for coming, Sandra.
Thank you for having me. I learned a lot, and I'm excited to use it.
Lily always has good content in her classes.
And now that we no longer meet on Tuesday evenings at 7, we now meet on Tuesdays at noon, I'll be able to attend.
Well, and our goal next year is, I've already talked to Liv about it, to not have the classes always on Tuesday, because I've had a lot of people ask me, can we do other days? And we were set up this way this year, but we're going to change it up next year so more people can attend on different days. I'm not sure how it's going to be done yet. That's her job to figure out, but
yes,
but that should help, with attendance too. And Dina, I just wanted to say, I'm really impressed with how much you have done as your VPPR for your club. That's great that you guys have gotten newspapers and, that's just fantastic.
Thanks. We try, or I try, and yeah, it's not been easy, but well, I don't want to say it's not easy, but I meant, because I got connections with the radio and the newspaper here in Seguin and stuff. That hasn't been the problem. It's just getting people to get off their butts and come on out.
That's the nice thing about being in a small town. I will say though, no matter what group you're trying to target, try to think in terms of what's in it for me. So those Rotary guys, if they get offered the opportunity to practice a presentation and get a round robin critique, I bet you they will come.
Yeah.
Because that's probably something that they're interested in. Learning, if you did a workshop on speaking to influence, and I can tell you the young man that I talked to you about in Corpus, Alfredo Delgado, he would happily come and be a guest speaker for you because that's what he does for a living. So he would love to meet all those, corporate guys. So win, win, win. I'm happy to put you in touch with him.
Yeah.
If you guys like to have guest speakers, it sounded like one of Sandra's clubs is doing really well with having a speaker series.
Yeah, we haven't done that. That's a great idea, and it would be a good opportunity. I know right now with we've got 2 people who are from a big company here in town, Continental, or not Continental, but
he would love to meet those, because what he does is disc training. So it's leadership development, but he speaks on a lot of different topics. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, I'm trained through John Maxwell, and I can actually do the disc training as well.
That's what he does too. So
Yeah.
but
Cool.
sometimes I have found it just helps to have, like, you know that expression,
Someone
you're
else.
a prophet in your own town.
Yep.
I can go out of town and people are just flocking, and in my own town it's like, so what?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Oh, it's you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Out of town a lot of times for sure.
Maybe putting on some kind of joint venture with a Rotary group.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lily, I don't want to take up any more of your time, but this was fantastic. I love it when people come together and share their ideas and just, talk
Me
about
too. I really like being able to turn it over to people who are attending as well, just because I really think that a lot of people are kind of going and experiencing through a lot of the similar things when it comes to club, either growth or a lack thereof. And so really kind of leaning on each other and learning from each other's experiences, I think is really helpful. And, for example, partnering with another club. I feel almost dumb for not even considering that. Thinking like, oh, why don't I do that for my club? I think that sounds like a ton of fun. I know plenty of clubs that are in the area who I would love to partner with. So things as simple as that. So I'm really glad that you were able to give that feedback.
Top Notch Trainers had a meeting with Sunday speakers. We both meet on Sundays, but one of our dates was Easter Sunday, so we weren't going to have a meeting that day. So they invited us to come to their meeting, and it was so much fun. It's good to get a different vibe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, 100%. It really, really is.
A lot of clubs this year that have gone and visited each other and shared like that.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a great idea. I'm definitely going to pitch that this week. Oh gosh, well, I hope this was helpful.
Dina, if you ever want to get involved in training, we're always looking for people that want to help train. That's how I found Lily. I just asked her.
You never know. My husband and I, that's kind of what we do. We do a lot of trainings and
excellent,
all kinds of stuff, which is why I started in Toastmasters a couple of years ago, is to really get more comfortable in front of groups and things like that to help me more. So,
but if you're working with youth, doing a youth leadership is an easy way to get credit on your DTM. You can, just read about it, and they're fun. Mm-hmm. I haven't run one, but I've helped with some, and they're a lot of fun.
Cool. Yeah, I'll look more into it. I just hadn't had time. I've so many things. I'm actually planning to go to Hawaii with my young Marines in December for
Dang. That's on my bucket list.
Oh, it's beautiful. I've gone a couple times already, and it's amazing. We get to stay on the Marine base, and anyway, all kinds of good stuff. But it's a matter of right now raising the funds and things to help the cost for that for the family. So,
do you guys do GoFundMe, or how do you do it?
No, we actually do a lot of hands-on fundraisers. We actually in November did a motorcycle run. None of us have motorcycles, but the American Legion, because I'm all about collaboration and teaming up. The American Legion are the motorcycle runners, and so we even got to use their facility, and we raised a little over $4,000.
Nice.
Great. For our first time, and the opportunity is huge to make a lot more. So for a first run, it was really good. And we are planning on doing that again. And they all want to do it again because they want to help us. They love the kids and we love being there helping them. And so, yeah, but Sigma is a great opportunity place. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that's like we meet now and we drill at Geronimo VFW. And that's a connection there that for even Toastmasters that it worked out that's where we meet. Because where we were meeting, the GVEC Electric Co-op is not allowing the meetings at their place for outside people. Mm-hmm. But VFW knows me. I already had the key to their building, and I asked, and they are not using their facility during the week. Why not? And they're not charging us any money.
Awesome.
Because it's about helping community.
Mhm.
Yeah, see, that kind of shocks people from Austin because everybody charges for meeting space in
Yeah.
Austin.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be that way, you know, I mean, and we could have a fundraiser and donate some money for the electricity that we use, you know, but, you know, maybe that's what we can do eventually. But we hadn't, I mean, we've tried to come up with some ideas, but we're always making sure we leave it, you know, clean and everything before we leave, which is, you know, you should always do that. But yeah,
Mhm.
You were
it's
the
worked out really
perfect
well.
person to come to this training because you have a lot of great ideas.
Yeah.
And I'm glad
Seriously.
you shared on the recording.
You got to do what you got to do sometimes. And that's, you know, all people can do is say no.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it. You know, in sales, we were always taught every no gets you one step closer to a yes. So it doesn't bother me if somebody tells me no.
Right.
The next person probably won't. So whatever.
Yeah.
But Lily, thank you again so much for all these great classes you've taught this year. And they're all available on the website. So thanks again. And anybody that is watching this recording and wants to know more about PR, it's all on the continuing education recording, and we will have more classes next year. So thanks for coming, you ladies, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Thanks y'all so much. I'll talk to y'all soon.